today I'm going to be taking you through a real life, real time journal slash daily journal slash longhand journal with me session. I showed this journal in a video where I went over all the journals I'm currently using, and today I thought I would kind of zoom in on this guy and give you guys a very real look at how I use this every single day and kind of realistically how I use it every single day. So this is when I normally journal. It's about 10:30 in the morning and I'm just gonna get into it. I'll include information on this notebook and the pen if you want, but honestly for me the most important part of my daily journal is that it's affordable, because I go through a lot of these in a year and I don't want to spend like 80 bucks on journals that I don't normally go back and read. So yeah, this is my journal. I'm just gonna start doing my morning page, which is where I do one page of stream of consciousness, and while doing that I'm gonna keep it in real time and I'm gonna answer a couple questions that you guys asked me over on Instagram and in the community tab, so it's not just me sitting and writing for like 5 minutes straight, and that would be really boring. So I hope this is a little more amusing. So yeah, I'm gonna flip to an open page and we can get journaling. All right, this is voiceover me coming at you to answer a couple questions that you guys left me on Instagram as well as YouTube. So I'm just gonna go through these and hopefully the answers give you maybe some insight or just kind of give you a better idea of how I journal. So let's jump into it. So the first question is, what is your favorite journaling beverage? Usually it's tea, because I journal pretty early in the morning. I am Irish, well, I'm Irish Canadian, so I really love drinking Barry's tea, which is an Irish black tea. It's really strong, but I also put a lot of milk in it, and yeah, I probably drink that about 3 times a day, but definitely one of those 3 times is when I'm journaling. What do you do with empty pages? So I don't have any empty pages in my journal because I just kind of fill out 1 page at a time, and I try not to skip pages. If I do, I'll just go back and fill in the entry, and then they won't be chronological, which honestly I don't really, it doesn't bother me because since I journal almost every day, that's like 365 or 68 pages. So I just like to try to fill up as much as possible because I tend to end up with a lot of notebooks by the end of the year, which is kind of a lot to store. So I like to have as few notebooks as possible. And because of that, I fill up every page. The next question, when do you journal? Usually in the morning. If I forget to do it in the morning, in the afternoon, and if I'm really not on it, then I do it in the evening, but that doesn't usually happen. Do you ever look back on it? Not really, honestly. For me, my journaling practice is all about just like in the moment spilling out the thoughts in my head. So I actually don't really find a lot of use looking back on my journaling, but maybe in a couple years it might be interesting. I don't know. Maybe I should give it a try at the end of this year. Ooh, this is a good one. Oh, this is from Stat Goddess. I see her a lot in my videos, so hello. Do you have a list of usual questions, or do you just go in freeform / does any format speak to you? Okay, so I'll start with the kind of questions or freeform, and then I'll just briefly go over my format. So I usually just do freeform, but there's a couple things that I like to have kind of ready in case I'm just really, my brain's just really not on that morning, because that does happen, especially when I'm tired. So I always start off my journaling entries by saying good morning. I don't know why, it's just like a good way to get started, I guess. And if I really don't know what to talk about, or I just want to get the ball rolling, I usually will talk about the weather and just briefly write about the weather that day and what the weather looks like. I did that today. Today's really kind of overcast and cloudy. And obviously, you know, looking back at the weather isn't the most exciting thing, but I just find it's a good way to kind of get the ball rolling and get you writing your thoughts down a little more kind of succinct and just get that process rolling. So usually I'll write about the weather, then I'll normally do free form. I usually will write about either how I'm feeling that day, what I'm looking forward to that day. If I have like stuff I need to work on and I'm just like really thinking about that, I'll just dump that out onto the page. So sometimes I'll write about, you know, a project I'm working on and how I'm thinking about this thing and how it works with this thing and all that kind of stuff. It's really, for me, it's not about what I write about. It's more just like the process of getting it out of my head. So I'm not too strict with the subject. And sometimes if I need to, I'll also like vent in my journal if I'm really frustrated. I can't speak. If I'm really frustrated about a situation, I'll also write about that. For a while, I used to start off my journal by writing 3 things I was grateful for that day. And that was just a really like positive and uplifting way to start my journaling session, especially if I was going through a bit of a rough time. So that is a good one as well if you're looking for prompts. I like that. So then my format for my journal is really simple. I just write 1 page a day in whatever pen I have lying around. And at the end, I stamp the date on the page, which you will see at the end of this video. All right, so next, we have Karen. Hey Karen, what's up girl? She asks, how do you use journaling to inform your planning? And then she also asks, where do you long form journal at? And what benefits do you get from doing it? A 3-parter, a triple, if you will. So, okay, first question, how do you use journaling to inform your planning? So, I don't really have like a strong link between my journal and my planning, I would say, because within my bullet journal, which is how I plan, I have a lot of reflective journaling in that as well. I will reflect on my week through my weekly review, and I'll also reflect on my month through my monthly review. So usually those 2 spreads are more informative for my planning because they're a good way for me to identify something I want to focus on or something I want to prioritize, which I can then implement in the next week or month. The only thing I would say maybe informs my planning is sometimes through my long form journaling, I'll identify like a habit that's important to me that I want to track, so then I can kind of implement that in my bujo, but for the most part, they're pretty separate. So where do you long form journal? So today I'm doing it on my desk just because I film on my desk, but normally I will just do it on my couch because that's just where it's most comfortable. And yeah, desk, table, couch, one of the 3. That usually works for me. And then finally, the last part of this question is what benefits do you get from doing it? I find it's a really great way for me to clear my head in the morning, get all of the thoughts out of my head that are kind of ruminating in there during the morning. And yeah, I tend to think a lot, so it's a really great way for me to kind of clear my head. And I guess kind of like how you brush your teeth in the morning, it's kind of like I'm brushing my brain in the morning. I know a lot of people have described meditation in that way, and I kind of feel those similar effects from journaling. It's a really good way that I get a lot of mental clarity, and also sometimes it helps me figure out priorities for the day. So that's a good kind of additional benefit as well. All right, next question is from Gwen. Hey Gwen. So with long form journaling, is it like stream of consciousness writing? And does your hand cramp a lot writing that much in long form? So yeah, I definitely do normally journal in stream of consciousness, which to me, stream of consciousness is just like whatever your brain is thinking, you write down. So like brain to paper, I guess. So that is what I usually do. There's usually a lot of spelling mistakes, you know, the grammar, syntax, sentence structure is definitely not there at all, but that's not really the point. I don't like to focus on that stuff because it's just not really conducive to the process, and it just leads me to not want to write, which is definitely not the point, because being able to sit down and write is like the most important part of the process. So yeah, I just kind of do stream of consciousness writing. There's always spelling errors, like every day. and sometimes I can't even read my own writing, but that's okay. Next, does your hand cramp a lot writing that much in long form? So I usually do my journaling in cursive just because I find it's a bit easier to write quickly with, and it does allow you to have a little less kind of hand strain when writing like a full page of words. I don't think a full page is too much writing either. Like, this is an A5 notebook, so it's not like a ton. Like, I'm not writing a full 3 pages like the traditional morning pages method. I just do 1. So I don't find my hand cramps that much, but I also don't find my hand cramps generally whenever I journal or bullet journal. So maybe my hands just don't cramp easily, or I don't grip my pen super hard and that's why they don't cramp. But I personally have not had an issue, but I also like to take my time when I'm journaling. I don't like, you know, constantly write. If you, you'll probably actually see while I'm talking in the video when I'm going real time, I'll like stop, I'll put my pen down, I'll like think, and I'll also pick up my tea and drink it. So it's not like a super rushed process because it only really takes 10 minutes anyway, so there's no need to really rush. So I don't find my hand cramps at all. And now that we've finished up with Gwen's question, that is kind of the full question answer period done. So yeah, I hope those questions were helpful. Thank you to everyone who submitted them. You guys submitted some really good ones that I would have never thought of, so I hope they provide you with some ideas or insight or anything like that. And yeah, we're probably going to go back into the real-time video now, but I will quickly mention if you do have any more questions and you want me to answer them, I can definitely do that down in the comments section, or just like DM me on Instagram, really whatever works for you. So yeah, that was the question and answer period adjourned. So we're going to go back to real time, Kaitlin, now. Okay, so we are back in real time. So that was the full journaling session done. Now I'm just gonna close off this page by stamping the date on top. So I just use, here, let's focus you in. There we go, ah, beautiful. I just use this date stamp. It's obviously not necessary. You could just write the date, but stamping the date is just so fun. Like, it just really is like that kind of, I guess, like reward. Yeah, I have the right date, perfect. And like, I think what Charles Duhigg calls like the habit loop, that just like you get excited for. And I will admit, it definitely does motivate me to journal. So I'm gonna stamp the date here. It's September 14th. Lovely. And then I need to clean this, but I didn't bring a wet cloth down, so we'll do that later. But yeah, once I clean it, I put it back on my desk, but I'm just gonna leave it here for now. And that is the full journaling spread. Really simple, but it's a great way of kind of providing a exercise in the morning that allows me to dump out all of the thoughts in my brain, which is great because my brain likes to go very quickly and it can be overwhelming at times, so this really helps with that. And yeah, that is the finished spread. I hope that this gave you a really realistic look at how I journal. This is literally how I do it every day. It's nothing special, it's nothing, you know, crazy inspiring or magical, but sometimes sticking with maybe a simple or boring process is really beneficial in the long run, or at least that's what I've found. It's not really the outcome that's important for these. I find it's more just the process of sitting and writing. That is what I find truly beneficial. So yeah, this is my journal. I'm now gonna put it away and say goodbye to you guys. I hope that the questions were helpful too, and that the answers hopefully gave you some insight. And besides that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, or if you're watching this in the morning while I'm doing this, that too. And I can't wait to chat and hang with you guys in the next video. So until then, I'll see you later.